Welcome back, everybody, to Sci-Fi Chronicles. I'm here again with my good friends Brian and Gary. How you doing, guys? You okay? Are you looking forward to it? So, where did you guys go for All Worlds break? Did you go anywhere, or did you stay on?
I got sick and had to stay home. This is why I have this voice. I ended up with space AIDS and had to go to a spa.
I have to confess, I'm actually a little bit disappointed that that neither of you were committed enough to go meta and actually wear a dress for this episode.
I'm wearing a dress.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I just can't show you because it's a mini skirt.
Well, I decided to go to my nearest shopping mall in a pair of trunks and just decided to lie down and sunbathe. You know, because that's clearly what you do. And I put a couple of cucumbers in my eyes, so it was fine. Yeah.
Are you revealing now, John, that you're as ripped as
jacked,
Caleb is?
Wow. I'm jacked. I'm like 4. I really am.
Okay.
So Star Trek Academy, let's get straight into it. Okay. We start this episode where they're all going away. There's a 4-day break for All Worlds break, okay, which I've got a question straight away. I'm coming at you both of it. Okay, why does the Athena, it's a starship, why is the bridge unmanned for 4 days? That never happens. You at least have a skeleton crew on the bridge. They literally take off for 4 days.
I don't know what you're talking about. Jet Reno comes by every few hours to check.
Oh, don't. Yeah, well, we'll get to that.
Yeah, she does.
Yeah.
I don't, but John, the answer to that
nobody on the
is,
bridge.
I have no idea, but I want to ask you, did they even explain, if they did, I missed it. What does All Worlds Day even mean?
It's spring break, isn't it?
Yeah, but I mean, did they explain anything about like why they call it that?
No, and again, guys, I was looking at this, I was thinking, right, okay, normally in a first act, you're meant to set things up for what's to come later in the episode, right? There is nothing that is set up in this episode, and there is nothing that happens. I will also say, I am right on what I predicted would happen. Last week, there was a tragedy due to the stupidity of Captain Nala, and the Vulcan cadet died as a result of it. And I thought, they're just going to wash over that next week, and it's going to be going straight back to stupid, childish attitude and behavior again. They have a brief under 2-minute discussion about, it's very sad about what happened to him, the Vulcan. That's it. And you then get back to, within the first 5 minutes, you've got Captain Nala, who just looks absolutely ridiculous, who cannot pack a suitcase. You've got Caleb recording a message for Tarima and then deleting it. It's just insufferable right from the first moment. I mean, can we, as if I thought it was bad enough, you then get Sam turning up with her Padme Amidala hair.
Yeah.
You know, and I was like, this is a quote that Sam says, right? This is a quote that she says. Okay. She goes, it's nothing. Don't worry. I mean, we've been through this. My injury on the Miyazaki triggered a minor regression error. You were stupid already.
Yeah.
You've regressed.
How do you regress from 3 years old? Because she's basically a 3-year-old.
Yeah.
With unfathomable power. And now she's, what, a 2-year-old? I don't get it. How can you regress further than retarded? I don't understand.
It seems like, I mean, I guess maybe we're supposed to assume that there's like a month time lapse between every episode. That's why a couple of episodes ago, I think she said, "Oh, this semester's like almost over." And at the time, I went, "Wait a minute, what?" You know. But I guess if you assume that every episode is a month later, I guess that time tracks. But I don't. I think coming up with they could have come up with some explanation what All Worlds Day mean, but I mean, that's actually one of the two good things I liked about this episode is that Sam wasn't in it that much, which I consider a huge positive. Yeah, you're right. That hair, even before the episode, I remember sending John a picture because I was just flabbergasted. I thought, wait, do they like tie her to a post and use her as a tetherball, you know, in tetherball games with that hair or what? But yeah,
I'm also I've seen people sort of commenting online, and I had a few people pop back at me about this, and they're basically saying, oh yeah, because she's photonic, she can still be harmed by phaser fire. I get that. If she can, she can. But they set it up in an earlier episode when they're doing laser tag.
I'm permeable, bitches.
So they've broken their own rules. Yeah. That's the trouble with it. And
that's right. Speaking of last episode, how did they even hurt her in the first place if she's permeable?
Yes.
Exactly. That's the point. Yeah. It makes no sense whatsoever.
I think because they had to have, and I commented on it at the time, I thought it was a mistake to have all of the casualties in that episode on the War College side. I thought that was stupid. I thought if you're going to have stakes on this show, you got to have, but I guess their sop to that was having Sam glitch, I guess, which qualifies as a quote unquote injury, which is lame if they think that.
Yeah. We then I'm going to bring up as well one of my bugbears about this series as well. I absolutely detest the site-to-site transporter technology. It just takes anything away from it. But I don't understand the fact of, if you can do site-to-site transporting, why are you effectively saying to everybody, right, step here, you're going off to, Dakar, you're going off to there. You've got site-to-site transporters. They've already set up. If you think it, you could just appear there. Yeah. The other thing I was going to say, guys, is the fact that we get in the first few minutes as well, we get Caleb decides that he's going to stay on the Academy campus. And we get that scene as well where he is sunbathing in his trunks with his pecs out, and his muscles, basically saying he's trying to get the sunshine with the cucumbers in his eyes. It was already established not a few minutes before, when he's having this big discussion with Captain Nala. He didn't want to go to his foster or World's Day foster family who were in Dakar. Now, Dakar, if anyone doesn't realize, is quite a hot place. Yeah. So you could site-to-site transport to Dakar, and then you could come back after you've done your sunbathing, instead of, we're now in San Francisco, where it was a really bad storm and thunder and lightning when he was having the argument with Nala. Now it's sunshine. This show goes to new levels to baffle me. It really does.
I don't. Yeah. I mean, my guess on that, the site-to-site transport thing, is that's purely like a cost-saving thing, so they don't have to pony up for the transporter effect.
Yeah.
They just basically, you hear some kind of noise off screen and you assume they're transporting. It's just kind of lazy and cheap.
Yeah, it is. And again, I'm going to bring up now Genesis. Okay. So we find out in this episode that Genesis is essentially a manipulative cow. And she, what I don't get about this episode is the fact that her whole plot, the A plot, is the fact that she's going to manipulate Caleb to get onto the bridge, to get a device so that she can erase the reports that have been written about her from the teachers. Because they basically say that she acts out of fear. Well,
or I thought she was going to either erase them or alter them or
alter them.
Something.
Now, let's just use the evidence here. They're not going to hold that against you. They've let somebody into the academy who eats comm badges and wets themselves on the bridge. I think you're going to be okay.
Well, the silly thing about that, I think actually the reason I think she should have been booted from the command track is not for doing this, but just for being stupid and not actually thinking about like the logical, like the situation she's in. Because look, at the end of the day, those are people's opinions. Those don't matter. Those are recommendations of people's opinion weighed against what she just did in this crucial crisis situation, and getting a glowing recommendation from the chancellor of the academy. It's like Genesis. Put each of those on a balance scale. What do you
no.
think is going to be more, people's opinions or your own actions recently and the chancellor's glowing review?
Yeah.
She was an idiot to do what she did. And that actually is really why she should be booted, not because she broke some rules.
Yeah. And it's also with Captain Nala when she pulls Genesis aside and she says, I hoped you and your shipmates would not have to face what you did at the Miyazaki for a long time, if ever. You caused it. It was you.
Yeah, you're the problem.
Yeah. And again, there's no consequences for your actions. You've resulted in the death of a cadet because you were arrogant, you were overconfident, and Braca completely owns you last episode. Now, what I don't get is she goes, but under threat and enemy fire, your cool head, strategic thinking, and leadership did not go unnoticed. She says about Genesis in the last episode. She basically says, why don't we fire out a probe and get it to go slow? Because apparently advanced sensors can't detect a slow moving probe. You know,
I thought maybe like make it look like a piece of debris, which I think is what they're going for.
Yeah. It's,
you think actually the chancellor would say something like, I want to commend you for not melting down like that other cadet. But
we're still mopping the urine off of the floor of the bridge because of that.
The silly thing about that is, are we to believe that Captain Nala waited an entire month to tell her that? Because it's been a month since that happened. So she waits a month to tell Genesis, hey, I really like the job that you did. You really showed a lot of good. There's no way that would have happened maybe at most like a few days later. She wouldn't wait an entire month. I mean, I know from we have to hear it as the audience, but still it's dumb to think that in that situation she would wait a month to tell her that.
Oh, no, it's mad. And can I also say about this? She says about, she's putting Genesis forward for what is it? The command track.
Pre-command,
Yeah, pre-command track. Now, from me watching Star Trek over the years and playing this Star Trek Academy game, that's not how it works. You go to the Academy, you're already meant to be the best of the best when you get into the Academy because you've got to pass the test, or you did in the past. You've got to pass the test to get into the Academy to show you're that, in the top, 10%. Now, what happens here is she's putting on a command track, but you don't do that. Basically, you're meant to go through the various courses at the Academy. You work, you build a team unit, and then you get assigned to a starship or a command post, and then you start off as like an ensign and you work your way up. An example of that, Harry Kim in Star Trek Voyager, fresh out of the Academy, he's an ensign assigned to Voyager. He's got his position on Voyager. Now, so that again, they have no knowledge of Star Trek, but we're not surprised by that, guys, because the evidence of the last few episodes is clearly
or like Kirk on the what was it, the Farragut, the one that in the Obsession episode, that he was an ensign on that ship when the cloud creature attacked. Yeah, that was the Farragut, like that.
And again, so I don't understand that at all. So we're at this point, but I was going to say about Combadge Girl, do you think Captain Nala pulled her aside as well and says, your performance during the Miyazaki incident did not go unnoticed? Have you thought about working for Baskin Robbins?
Yeah, well, no, I actually, my theory is that she's now in the maintenance unit. She actually does the gardening. She actually got the Boothby scholarship to help out to be in the gardening, because I think that's what her temperament was more suited for.
Yeah, we get another Stephen Colbert Digital Dean comment again. Cadet, your Talaxian fur flies attacking a lab technician, and it's like, oh, that's very funny.
That's like the fourth one of those they've done though, where it's like so and so, your blank is attacking blank.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, because when I saw that, I thought, oh, here it comes. But then I thought, well, they've done that joke before a couple of times.
And then we get to I'm going to have to say, we could get to the absolute cracker of a scene. We have Jaden turning up in his skirt, ready to
my
go off to
God.
Ibiza. Now, guys, let's discuss it. Take it away, you two. I need to take a breath and a drink.
Dude, all the weird glazers on Twitter, they're like, it's totally normal for Star Trek cadets to wear skirts. Like, look at this example here. And yeah, it was a bad example then too. It was dumb in TNG, just like it's dumb here. Yeah. It's stupid. It's obvious virtue signaling. And this is why TNG didn't continue it.
Yep.
Like they didn't keep that stupid guys wearing skirts thing going because it was stupid. It was stupid. And once they recognized how stupid it was, they're like, oh, okay, guys, let's not do this again. Yeah. So you're bringing back all the worst parts that you can remember from your ChatGPT bullet point list of Star Trek. It's so dumb.
Yeah. All right. And the one thing
hi, Kyle.
Continue. Oh, don't even. That's toward the end of the episode. So remember to bring that back at the, well, no, actually that can fit here. The one thing about, I don't know, I would really sincerely like to see a comment from someone who, LGB, to see like what they think of how that relationship is being portrayed. Because it seems to me, again, like I said, I can't pass judgment. That's why I want to hear from, somebody who might be like living it. It seems to me to be just the most, surface, virtue signaling, whatever, because has other than smiling goofily and staring, just, starry-eyed at Jaden, has Kyle been given any character whatsoever? I mean, he's smiling at, he smiles at Jaden when he meets him. He's smiling at the bar. As John just showed, this time he's like waving like he's in a John Hughes movie. Jaden, and it's like, God, it's like they seem to think that all they need to do is that much to get the approval of that segment of the audience. And were I in that segment of the audience, I'd be insulted. It's like, do you not even think that you need to actually craft a legitimate character for these people, other than just to say, oh, no, he's gay, or he wears a skirt or a dress, and that's all we need, because then they'll be satisfied.
They clearly see their audience as idiots, though, because they think, right, we'll put in a one-dimensional character like this. And to be honest, all the characters pretty much in this show are one-dimensional characters. There is no development to them. There's no arc to them whatsoever. They just flitter around every single week. But you're right, Gary, because the LGBTQ side, if I was an LGBTQ person, I would be actually demanding that they actually write a proper three-dimensional character that they could be invested in.
Or not at all.
There is nothing of interest here whatsoever. It's just, oh, look, he's gay. Ah, great. Let's tick that one off.
We must like him now.
Yeah, exactly.
And again,
we all must like him because he is homosexual.
I mean, and the people who like, that's all they need to as validation. It's like, I mean, you see, people who, and I don't get me started on the idea that of television watchers needing to see themselves in a show. That's a whole other thing. We could be here all day. But I'd like to think that those people, if that's what they really want, that just by getting some kind of obvious, the most surface kind of acknowledgement, that they're happy with that. It's like, wow, it doesn't take much to please you, does it?
And I have to be honest, guys, as well, with Jaden, his Klingon voice is really grating on me now as well, because it is so slow and it's like trying to copy Worf.
What problem do you have with my
I've heard, in all seriousness,
I am a Klingon warrior.
Have either of you guys heard? I've heard that all of his dialogue is dubbed. Is that true?
That would track.
We're going to find out it's Michael Dorn.
No, and that's not like a sarcastic comment. Yeah. I've actually heard a couple places that, because now I've not heard that actor speak in like like interviews or whatever, real life or whatever. But I've heard that all of his dialogue is having to be dubbed to make it deeper.
It makes sense because his real voice is like this. Hey guys,
Yeah. Then that's okay. Then
I'm a Klingon warrior.
See, I'd respect them if they actually went with that voice for the show. Going,
It would be really funny.
My beef.
Hi,
now, you know,
Kyla.
now, I know that we're not at the end of the episode yet, but I'm going to make a prediction. I'm going to predict that there was a scene where before they went back to the academy, Jaden asked either, one of the adults there or whoever, if he could like keep that dress. And I think in the finale, which is going to be the big prom episode, that's what he's going to wear to the prom with Kyle.
Songs will be sung of this day.
Jeez.
I know but then we get to the next scene because we've got, Darum, who is clearly jealous, and there's a love triangle building here as if we haven't suffered enough with this show. But then you get to the kidnapping scene, and I have to laugh at this because the thing I'll give credit to the show is when I think it's at its worst, it finds a way to get even worse as it goes along. So we get Darum in a completely abandoned corridor. Suddenly they throw some like gold nugget down the corridor to distract him. So being the ultra intelligent guy he is, he kneels down and examines it and picks it up. And then he gets grabbed by a bloke and a woman. The woman manages to knock him out just by tapping him on the forehead. Yeah. But then Jaden turns up, and Jaden, instead of hitting his comm badge, which is on his chest, or computer red alert, someone is being abducted, none of that at all, which you would have on any other Star Trek show, you would call security. But then again, this academy, the security have probably gone off for spring break right now, or World's Day. So there's none of that at all. But then they take him through the portal, Darum, and Jaden goes through the portal after them. It's a weird scene again, where it just makes no sense.
Well, again, it's throwing.
Yeah, some random people broke into a secure Starfleet Academy and effectively kidnapped someone, and no one noticed.
Yeah, exactly. No alert to the bridge. Oh, then again, nobody's on the bridge, are they? So
and again, I keep going back to imagining the conversation in the writer's room that comes up with this, because it's like, okay, well, let's because clearly when he sees that little pebble or whatever it is, he recognizes what's going on. I mean, he has that look of recognition. But I can just even say, okay, let's have him kidnapped. Oh, but then he's not really kidnapped. Let's say that that's part of the marriage ritual. I would hope that somebody in the writers' room will go, wait a minute, explain that. Why would a ritual kidnapping be part of a marriage ceremony? Like what's the thinking behind that?
Well, I gotta play devil's advocate, because in bachelor parties here, that's what the bachelor's groomsmen usually do that for the bachelor.
Yeah, party. But not to get you as part of the bachelor party, not to get you to the actual wedding.
Speak for yourself.
That's a valid.
I almost didn't go to my wedding. So.
But that's a valid point. But it's just like I didn't make the. I mean, maybe if the two people that kidnapped would have been dressed like in party outfits or something, I would have gone, oh, okay, it's like a bachelor thing. I'm
going to go back to it. I keep going back to every single week. The burn they say about dilithium, was destroyed, and they couldn't travel and they couldn't communicate with other worlds. So they became isolationists. Mm-hmm. You've got another example straight away where there's almost like a window technology where they can step from one world to another to abduct him, to take him back to their world.
Right.
Now they talk about in this episode that it was caused by a black hole incident or something like that. But it's another example of there is technology you could have researched to get over the burn. You're not even following your own rules that you've set out in Kurtzman Trek, because last week we had the quantum singularity drive that they were experimenting with. This week we have that. we have that technology, and we get to it a little bit later on. We have a warp slug, so not
The
dilithium
warp slug
based.
is so stupid.
Oh, but you would think, wouldn't you research the warp slug and go, hang on a minute, how is it organically able to travel through warp? Maybe we can extract that and use that tech for
Yeah.
ourselves, for our starships. It's stupid.
John, I
It
think I
really is.
must have misheard you. Did you actually use the words Kurtzman Trek and rules in the same sentence,
Yeah, yeah,
or did I mishear that?
yeah. No, I honestly, I'm at a point now where I don't know what screenwriting course Kurtzman ever went to.
I mean, bro, it's just as dumb as that the man pig. What was that thing called? The Discovery
Oh
thing.
yeah. I know.
His
Man
his
bear
screen
pig.
his screen his
I forgot
screenwriting
what it was called. It's
Get the
like
name, yeah.
it's
Yeah.
based on an actual organism
is.
like a water bear or something like that. I don't know.
his
Which-
screenwriting school is called Chat GPT.
Yeah. But look, these are meant to be the best of the best, right? Of Starfleet. These are the future. These are the ones that are going to become captains of starships, okay, at this academy. So what they do when they've got the academy to themselves, they decide to play a game called Toxic Non-Toxic, which is sticking their hands into tubs in the doctor's medical facility to decide whether it's toxic or non-toxic. I mean, with intelligence and skill like that, you don't even need to worry if you're the Romulans, because you just let them blow themselves up. Quite
Well,
frankly.
you know where I think they ripped that
Very
off,
dumb.
because every one
Yeah.
of these episodes has to be a direct steal from something. I think
Yeah.
that's stolen from the Flash Gordon movie.
Yeah,
You know, putting your hand in the log.
yeah, you're right. Yeah, I can see it.
I don't remember that.
But
You know where he goes? They go up to Timothy Dalton's
they bite the
forest
spider
thing,
bites him.
and there's like a log with a lot of different holes in it, and there's some kind of venomous thing in one of them, and you've got to,
Yeah.
as a test of like courage or manliness, you put your hand in and draw it out, and if you don't get stung, you're good to go.
okay.
But if you
Yeah.
do, then you're dead. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, again, with this whole toxic, non-toxic thing. So we get that. I would also say as well, Genesis is actually becoming an insufferable character for me, because she knows it all. She puts down the males in the show every single week. Here it is again, where she's basically saying that she's better than Caleb. You know, basically everything that they do, there's a reference that she wins. But there's
Yeah.
also, not only that, you also get the queen of Darum's world, and we'll get to that, where she's basically putting him down as well.
Yeah.
So
Well,
sisters are doing it for themselves again this week.
I mean, let's focus on Genesis for a second. Obviously, you know, it seems like everything she does is born out of her insecurity. Either, you know, it can't be that she's trying to prove herself, because it's clear that she thinks she's going to fail, and she wants to cover in her records any indication that other people think that she's going to fail. So it's like,
Such an immature thing to do.
well,
Yeah.
but I mean, it's like just such massive, to where even you know, being so pivotal in this crisis at one point, that doesn't even help her
No,
self-confidence.
you're absolutely right. And I think the trouble you've got now as well is, you made the point earlier in this show, mate, that Gary, that it's jumped around. So this is later on in their study in time. You know, it's jumped forward in time. So you've got someone at this point who is basically prepared to manipulate fellow cadets who are supposed to be friends as well,
Yeah.
to jump and co-opt them so that she gets that command position.
Right.
So you're not gonna follow someone like that into battle, because eventually it's gonna come out what you're really like. And Brian, I think you mentioned it right. I think it was around about the second episode. You said, and you're right on this, when nobody ever wanted a Star Trek Academy series, because there's literally no stakes in a Star Trek Academy series.
There's nowhere
And
to
it's
go.
proven, isn't it? You know, every week it's just, they flot around acting like idiots, and then end credits, we move on to the following episode. You know, there's no stakes.
There's no stakes. Yeah.
Well, for me, the biggest problem, and I want to get back to the specifics about what happens on Darum's planet in a minute.
Mm.
But I mean, on this episode as a whole, there's no stakes in this, which is why this episode is boring. It meanders around.
That's the worst. The worst part of this episode is not everything we mentioned. The worst part is that it's boring. Because look, you can be a bad, but if you're at least don't be boring.
Yeah.
Because if you're not boring, at least I can watch it for those reasons. But it's boring.
So I mean, and the thing about it is, I know that they kind of intended. They probably thought, oh well, let's do an episode that's kind of like, you know, after Picard gets captured by the Borg, they had that episode. Well, you know, where he goes back to Earth. Well, that was better written, it was better acted, and there were more stakes in this because Picard had to come to the realization and kind of break down before he could kind of get going again. So there were stakes in this. In this one, what do we have? We have a wedding that we know is not going to take because it's one of the regular characters. So we know that whatever kind of hand-wringing about that, it's going to end where he goes back to the academy. So there's zero jeopardy there at all. We have a wedding that we know won't happen. We have Genesis having a self-confidence problem, even though she just did something that would boost her self-confidence off the charts. Yep. And C, we have Caleb wringing his hands about sending a text.
Yeah.
Basically, which he does by the end of the episode. And by the way, Caleb, get over yourself. Oh, she saw my real self and I didn't know how to handle that. Oh my gosh. You don't want that in somebody if you're in a relationship. God forbid you have somebody see your real self if you're in a relationship.
Yeah, bro. You're really looking like a pussy right now. No wonder why she hasn't. No wonder why she hasn't answered your text, bro. You're being a whiny little bitch.
He hasn't sent any. He hasn't sent any in a month. And if he thinks that ghosting her for a whole month, she's gonna come back. He's got some. He's in for a serious, world of hurt. But so all it is basically 55 minutes or however long. It's, it became at the start, especially with that stupid marketing picture of them all laying on the ground. That's when the talk about, well, it's 90210 or it's Dawson's Creek or whatever. This episode is that it's talking about your relationships and your feelings and your insecurity. This, for anybody who says this series is not One Tree Hill or Dawson's Creek, show them this episode and say, I beg to differ.
And I would also add to that, I would say it's not just disrespecting Star Trek, the history of Star Trek. I think it disrespects those shows like 90210 and, Dawson's Creek, because they're clearly trying to copy that format, but they did it for their niche. They did it so much better. This is nowhere near those shows in quality. So yeah, I think they're not only just making a poor copy of Star Trek, but they're also making a poor copy of these teen soaps. I was also going to say, guys, while they're playing toxic, non-toxic, and they release the warp slug, which, as you said, Brian, is the most stupid idea I've ever seen. Where
it's even more stupid than the tardigrade.
Yeah, that's it. Tardigrade.
They've one-upped their own stupidity.
Yeah, and it can only do short travel in the same room with warp. I mean,
Brian, I'm guessing.
How are we not studying this thing? Why don't you get a bunch of those things in a reactor and then completely ignore dilithium?
Brian, but then we'd have a whole episode about, well, are the warp slugs sentient? So can we actually do that? But whatever. So Brian, am I to assume from your comment then that when they come out with the Funko warp slug that you won't be buying one?
He's got it on pre-order.
Yeah. I'd still buy it.
And the other thing is,
let's be real. I'm a sucker. So
no, you're waiting for the Funko Jaden's dress.
But you know what?
Yeah. That's my Halloween costume. You guys think I'm joking?
One more thing about Darum. We'll get back on the planet. So so Darum his background, because they alluded to this in an earlier episode.
Yeah.
Basically, everything he's doing is to please his parents, right? you know, even and you know that when they do those obvious shots of his wife reacting to Jaden, I mean, it's like
his wife.
signaling in big. No, they did get married.
Yeah,
They did get married.
his
They weren't
his
wife.
his wife to
Wife.
cover his true self.
You mean his beard?
Yeah, okay.
Like,
so, but
let's not give her the honor of the wife
the person.
title.
All right, how about this? The person that he's sitting next to.
Yeah, that one chick that we just met that he's sitting next to.
Yeah, his best
that
friend,
we don't care about because we just met her.
His best friend. So even though apparently
it's like for Brian Stelter's wife. I'm sorry, real quick, Gary. Like Brian Stelter when he goes, "I went to brunch with my wife today."
Oh, like, there you go. Yes,
Brian, we know you're gay. Yeah. Okay, just admit it.
That's right. Yeah.
Can I say as well quickly on that the LGBTQ woke percentage scale that I always kind of record for these episodes, it didn't just hit 100%. It went over 100 when we got trans kid turning up next to a trans friend who's just a one-dimensional character who's there just to say a couple of lines. But look, we're brave, we're stunning and brave, everybody. Look who we've got another diverse cast member. Mm-hmm.
Well, when it started getting toward the end, when I realized that the only adults we're going to see in this episode are the regulars, even though they've been talking about Darren's parents. He does everything to please them, even to, giving up what he wants because his parents want. So even after he abdicates, at that point, I'll go, like, surely now we're going to see the parents because surely they're going to have something to say about their son abdicating what apparently is the first time ever for this planet. So now apparently the planet now might be thrown into chaos because now this is the first time ever that a planet which needs two people to rule it, according to what she says, he's going off to do his own thing. And so, but is that going to is there going to be any problem with him advocating? No problem, barely an inconvenience, so we don't even get it. But I thought, so surely now we're going to see the parents that we've been hearing so much about that Darum has been doing everything for. No, not even a single line. I assumed they were in the background somewhere, but I thought, why do they make such a big deal in the script about how he's basically doing everything that his parents want him to do? And the one time that you think we're going to see them, we never do. I was massively confused by that.
It is staggering, but I'm also going to say something about Darum's race. Okay. Now, I know from a production reason why they have not done it, and they've kept them looking human for a cost perspective because of the effects. But you've gone to their moon.
Yep.
You're going to their home world. So why are they all looking human?
It made, no sense.
I mean, this is the idiocy of these people that are writing it. You've written yourself into a corner by giving him a blue face and scales in the very first episodes. That has backed you into a corner now. You didn't need to do it. It's absolute nonsense. And I will say, when we get, there's some wonderful quotes from Jaden, okay, which I was eye rolling at this point, okay, because we get, Jaden says, "I declare only that it is a good day to die." Yeah. And it's like, oh, he said it. He said, "Good day to die, everybody." Do you remember who else said that?
I can't take a Klingon seriously who says today is a good day to die while he's wearing a dress.
Exactly. Yeah.
Or a skirt at that point.
And I mean, again, during that moment as well, let's talk about it, guys, because we literally have Jaden saying, this is what he says to Darum. He says, when he's asked to do a best man speech, essentially, he says, "I will sweat, and I will sweat doubly on principle."
What?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
What was that whole thing about?
I'm taking crazy pills, man. What does that even mean?
What was that whole thing about the dress? The dresses are made of
coral or something.
Coral. I mean, if you're not going to show it, or if it's going to look the same as anything else, don't throw in some kind of stupid sci-fi sounding
Yeah,
thing
for real,
and
dude.
think that
Yeah.
validates it.
We
Yeah,
know.
that drives me nuts. Like they do that a lot in New Trek. They
Yeah.
just like make up shit and expect the audience to just buy it, even though it
Yeah.
doesn't resemble
Yeah.
or there was no connection to it. And his planet makes no sense. Like, are they a fish species? I don't
Well,
understand.
this is it. They're meant to be a fish type species, but as I was saying, it's we know from a production cost point of view that's why they're not showing them as fish people, because it costs too much to do that. But they've already set it up in the first two episodes. They look like
Stupid.
that. We're now on their moon, and they're going to go to the home world. So shouldn't all of them be looking like fish species? But they
Yes.
don't. They look
Yes.
human. It is nonsense. And again, with this whole
It's like they didn't want to
scene-
spend the money, I guess.
yeah, exactly
like I
that,
said,
yeah.
it's all a budget. This episode is so cheap.
But then don't set it up at the beginning, in the beginning of the season, that he's got a blue head, you know, because you're backing yourself into a
Yeah.
corner. That's what they do. Now, we know why we get this scene as well with Jaden and Darum, because Jaden is cold. And I have to say, guys, when he takes the coat off and puts it on Jaden, right? And he's got his gay nightclub outfit, tight t-shirt on
His
with no
gay
sleeves
nightclub
on. And as soon as that
They
happened,
all have gay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, God.
all
They
I
all
wanted
look so
is-
It
gay.
looked like a Liberace coat.
Yeah.
to me,
Yeah.
you know.
all I wanted was the music to suddenly kick in at that point to go.
In the background, you see a bunch of twinks just twirling, twirling those light things.
glitter on their pecs.
See, none of the three parts of this story, which is, will Caleb send a text? And then Genesis doing her self-confidence thing in this wedding we don't want to happen. None of these are A-level stories. If this was like a next gen, all of these would be a B story at best. None of these are worth being the main story.
No, I think you're 100% right on that. I think with the whole, did you guys think, where they do the lean in, where Jaden is the one coming up close to Darum, just like it's a reversal of that earlier episode where you think, are they going to kiss?
Yeah,
I did think they were going to kiss at this point, when they were there. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is terrible stuff. This is
It's so terrible.
I kid you not, guys. I watched this and I was like, I actually have to go and put Star Trek 3 on, or an
There you
80s
go.
Star Trek movie, to purge what I'm watching right now. And
all right, but John, I have to ask then, when you were watching Star Trek 3 and when they get to the line, give me Genesis, did you actually think about Starfleet Academy again? When
I was like, no, that insufferable cow can rot.
But I don't like it's just kind of inexplicable to the fact that they've now, with this episode, they've turned Star Trek truly into
it's a niche. It's a niche
90210
show.
just talk. That's what Star Trek is now, I guess. Talking about relationships, talking about feelings.
Yeah.
Talk. That's all it is.
Again, there is nothing in this at all. If there was a better writing crew involved on this, you would have actually proper cadet things going on, like simulations, and I look back to that Next Generation episode with Wesley and co, and they were the best of the best at the academy.
Oh, the first
and they were
meeting?
and they were doing
First
this, they were doing the covert starburst,
That's right.
because they wanted to go out in a blaze of glory because they're the best of the best. If this lot did that, just doing a standard shuttle flight, they just fly into each other and explode because they're that bad. I don't even know if they have shuttles much anymore in the 31st century, because everyone's site-to-site transports now. When we get to the end, the end of this episode, where the Queen belittles Darum, she says to him, the first thing you did to start our marriage is you lied to me.
But
Well,
that's true.
it is true, but he was putting other people ahead of himself. That's why he lied. So he didn't want to do that, but he was doing what was right for her and what was right for his world. So that's why he said he would do it. She then belittles him and she basically says, "You need to stand down and I'm going to be the first queen to rule by herself." And it's like, oh, well, because you
Well, it's
can't have a
girl
king on the
power.
throne now.
Girl
Exactly.
power.
So in the same episode, you've got Genesis being the bestest ever. You've got the queen being the bestest ever, and she's going to rule by herself. There's a little subtle message there, I think, from the writers of this show.
Well, what they should have done, and I do mean they should have done, because you're right, it became, they're not going to pass up an opportunity for girl power. What she should have said is something like, look, when she says, it takes two to run this government, she should say, how hard it is, even with two people to run and maintain the government for our people. How do you think that we can do it together if you're only doing it out of a sense of obligation, not because you really
Because you
want
love
to?
me.
Which would have been saying, look, there's too much writing on this, on what the two of us are doing, for you to be resenting it because you have to. It's not really what you want to do. You're not doing it because you want to. That would have been better, because it would have reframed. It would have made her, talking out of a sense of responsibility. Like, look, I have to think about what the possible effect might be for our people if you're resenting even doing it.
But then that's the history of royal alignments. I mean, it's in our country. It was established, some, Princess Di, she didn't want to marry Charles. Charles didn't want to marry Di, in the 80s, but they were forced into it. And then you have that duty that you have to perform as a royal. That is just comes part and parcel. It's not something that you potentially want to do. It's something that you have to do as a duty to your world, to your country. So again, I found that was a complete nonsense as well, by somebody that is just like you said. They're trying to put a message out about, sisters are doing it for themselves. But we then get back to Starfleet Academy, right? Okay. So we got Jaden and Darum talking to each other, looking over the railing, and across the other railing, we see, "Hi, Jaden, it's Kyle."
Jaden.
And here's what was done about that, but really quickly, is it's clear that Jaden and Kyle had already talked, right? Because Kyle knew about what happened on Darum's
how
planet,
long they've been back,
right? So, I mean, because Kyle knew what happened with the whole abdication and everything. Clearly, this is not the first time since they came back that Jaden and Kyle had seen each other. You know what I mean? It's like, not like they'd had some long separation and he's going, oh my God, you're here.
Yeah.
No, they've clearly talked since they've been back. So it's like, dude, why are you waving like some stupid schoolgirl to a guy that you probably saw a few hours before? Again, a one-dimensional character that they think just him being gay is enough. That's all they need to do with that character.
So we get him kissing, him and Jaden have a brief kiss and a cuddle. And then, so we then get through that moment. And then we just get the wonderful bit of Caleb. He's such a strong guy. He's managed to send the message at the end of the episode, and we have the fade in of the 21st century music again, which is insufferable. So he starts talking about everybody, and then we get the final shot. And again, I started laughing at this point. We get the meteor shower, and we've got all the cadets coming down the stairs together, all smiling like that. If I was there, right, and there was a meteor shower, that amount of meteors coming into the atmosphere, at the size they were, I wouldn't be smiling. I'd be going, what the hell's this is the end of the world? What's going on?
It's like, aren't they supposed to be burning up in the atmosphere? Clearly not.
And do you know what I thought at that point? I thought, I really hope it's the aliens from Mars coming to wipe them all out.
No, did either of you guys notice my biggest wait what point? So at the end, we see their probation has started, and Genesis and Caleb are pushing mops. And my only question is, wait, why do they still need to use mops in the 32nd century.
Yeah.
There's
Well,
no more way efficient to clean a floor other than grabbing a mop and
this
and using it.
this is the trouble. If they hadn't had earlier in the season and established in Kurtzman Trek that you have these cute little droids that go around and do everything,
There you go.
I would take a reach out of it and I go, okay, yeah, I get it. But they don't. They put the droids in and then they do this bit just to fill one particular
right.
piece of an episode to fill it. It's really bad writing.
And
And again,
you know that Caleb would reprogram the droids to do everything,
yeah.
for him
Program
to do
them
like all the
matter.
cleaning. It's just, like I said, it's a combination of not really thinking enough about what they are putting in the episode and not thinking at all about, the other half of the time.
Yeah. None of these cadets should be graduating at all. They should not
Yeah.
even be at the academy. They're not fit for purpose. I mean, I'm going to be kind. When they graduate, I give them 6 months before they press the wrong button on their starships and just explode because they're that stupid. I knew it was going to go back to there were no consequences from last episode, and we got exactly what I expected. It's just goofy, stupid silliness that goes nowhere. What was it? We got 3 episodes to go now. We know what's going to happen. We know Bracker's going to be back in the
Yeah.
finale. That's going to happen. But other than that, there's no stakes to it whatsoever.
That's the only other thing I liked about this episode is that there's only 3 left.
Only 3 left. Yeah, I still like Braca, but
Yeah, I mean,
and
Paul
the mom.
Giamatti is,
And I mean,
I like that
the
he's a competent villain.
mom
and-
has
and
to
he's-
come back.
yeah, she's the leader of it all, isn't she? Without a doubt.
Well,
She's gonna
when
be
he
revealed.
No,
when he
she's
makes
definitely in
that-
charge.
when
Yeah,
he makes that
Yeah.
comment to what's her face, Captain Holly, that I have like another big present for you, all wrapped up in a bow. Of course, he was referring to the mom.
Yeah, I just don't understand it at all. The question I want to ask as well is if this is the first academy in a long, what is it, over 137 years, how is the Admiral and Co still around for Starfleet?
I
Because
guess
you've got
Starfleet's still around.
but this is what I don't understand because they make a point of saying this is the first academy
Yeah.
for Starfleet in 137 years. So not all of them have the lifespan of Captain Nala. So they're humans. So how on earth is it that they didn't go through the academy?
Well, and by extension to that very good question, remember all the people that we had to take 5 minutes being of the bridge crew being introduced to in the first episode, which we've
Teaching
never
moment.
seen, which we've never seen again, after going for 5 minutes and being introduced to every single one.
Yeah.
Surely they went through the academy, right?
Well, exactly right.
So how did all of those people get to be where they are?
Look, Gary, they've only partially done their training. Okay. For 4 days of a year, they're in Ibiza. They leave the bridge, they go to Ibiza, they party hard, then they come back, and then they hope that they've remembered some of the training so they can actually take off.
I'm actually hoping that the next episode is we see what happened to Sam at the whole thing is set at her hollowed rehab spa,
But
and we actually see what happened to her. That'll be the next episode.
well, I'm worried that they might have made her more regressed further than she was
Not possible.
in this episode because, if we get to the next episode and she just see her and she's like lying on the floor drooling into the carpet, that's the Sam level that I want to see now because she's terrible.
I have a question, and I know that we're probably wrapping up, but I'm really curious as to what you guys think. Now, clearly, all indications are that this is going to be 2 seasons and done, and this series is providing a lot of mileage to a lot of people to kind of rip on it, even with fair questions that I think valid questions like we've done on this show, or
Yeah.
even just to hate for hate's sake. But do you think that I mean this series as a whole, based on almost an entire season that we've seen, is just so negligible and nothing that it's not really going to be doing any long lasting damage to the franchise? Because there's literally, this show is like kind of like cotton candy almost. I mean, do you think that or I mean, as long as they get somebody to kind of correct the ship later on, that this series is so slight
I
that
think they erase
it's
it
not going
from
to do
history.
anything.
I think this is so bad of a show. This is one of these shows where people watch it once and mock it, the majority of people, and then they never watch it again. This has got no reviewability to it whatsoever.
Yeah.
The question I'd also have, because I see a lot of people online and they put out the tweets and they go, "Oh, that was a fantastic episode of Star Trek Academy. Oh, it's brilliant, absolutely brilliant." Okay, I respect that you like it, you do you. But the question I would ask is, what is it you like about it? Characterization, plot, development of characters,
It's stunning
an
and
arc.
brave.
Yeah, exactly. I'm asking those questions because from a purely a script perspective, it fails on every level as far as I'm concerned.
They don't, but that's not the metric by which they're judging it. They're judging it, and I don't mean to be, demean it, but I honestly think I'm absolutely right. It's not about the quality of the scripts, it's about how many boxes it ticks.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
it, because
Yeah.
that's the primary metric.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, and I will just, before we give it a score out of 10, I'm just going to finish off by actually saying we did also get the major plot point of the show this week with seeing Tig Nataro's toe while she was having an argument with her Jem'Hadar Klingon hybrid lover.
That would have been a better title for the episode.
Yeah.
Tig's toe.
Yeah. Tic tac toe.
That's funny. You got me there.
And then of course, we have to get the shouty Jem'Hadar over the over the phone or whatever.
Yeah.
That's her cameo.
Yeah. I love you. I love you. It's like, oh dear me. Someone burn it with fire, please. So guys, what would you start with you first, Brian? What would you give this score out of 10?
Oh, fucking 2.
I'm going 2 as well.
Yeah.
It's terrible. This show is the only show where I've actually gone to this low on scoring. So I give them credit for that, because that takes some effort to get that lower score.
Yeah.
Gary?
I was going to give this a 1, but then I can't think of what that 1 would be for. So I'm giving it a 0.
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
Seriously, I was gonna say, okay, well, I'll give it a 1. But then if you would have come back and says, oh, what in the episode did you give the point to? I would be like, okay, I got nothing. So okay, 0.
But
it's not Star Trek.
It's not. You're right. And I made the point to you before, guys. I think I said about Star Trek 2. We have the cadets, and I've seen people come at me online and they've said, "Oh yeah, but the cadets in Wrath of Khan, they fled when Khan attacked." Yes, they did. But when you get to the end, the final act of Wrath of Khan, when they're preparing to go into the nebula, and you've got the great music, and they're literally getting the torpedo bay ready, and you've got all of those scenes where they're getting the decks ready, getting everything ready. That's where the cadets, they have gone through that baptism of fire, and they're basically going, right, we're going to do our duty now, because their lives are on the line just as much as Kirk and co is. That's what's great about it. And then also in Star Trek 3 at the beginning, you've got that cadet who is a bit cocky. He says to, when we get back, is there going to be a celebration? And Kirk's like, a hero's welcome. Is that what you want? We've paid for the party with our dearest blood. Yeah. That's what I agree with you, Gary, that this isn't Star Trek, because this is not how cadets would act in any shape or form for Starfleet.
After Khan's first attack, when the ship has been kind of blowing up, this is before they know that it's Khan.
Yeah.
Kirk is walking around the rear of the bridge, and he stops by this one station, obviously manned by a cadet, and he has like soot on his face or whatever, almost kind of looks like either distraught or he's about to cry. And Kirk kind of puts his hands on like his shoulders or something. It's like a quick scene, but clearly it's like, okay, that was his way to kind of support that cadet, like, in the moment. And yeah, so it's like the whole argument about, oh, all the cadets freaked out. No,
Yeah.
because clearly there were some of the cadets who were,
Stayed at their
on the
posts.
bridge who were still like scared, but they're still manning their posts. So
Yeah.
again, they come up with empty arguments to try to um,
Just like Brian said earlier about
justify.
about the skirt, comment. They go, they were in Next Generation season 1. It's like,
Right.
no, sorry. You can play that card as much as you want,
Or
but
you throw it back and you say, okay, I would say something like to the person who says that, I would say, okay, help me understand. So basically indicating that somebody is gay by putting them in a skirt, and that's all they do to show that.
Yeah.
You're fine with that? You don't need anything else than that?
yeah, nothing about their
Because then
character.
you bat the badminton back to them. You go, wait a minute. So basically just saying they're gay and wearing a skirt, and that's all you need for a carefully crafted gay character. I would go,
Yeah.
really? I would say, okay, well then you're easy to please.
Yeah, that's it. 100%, mate. That's our review of the show. I would also say I just wanted to bring up from the chat last week. There was some great comments made before we leave today. Thank you all for commenting. And as I said to you, I was going to read out some of the comments on the show today. So let's bring some of them up, because there's been some great ones. So Lila Duff 10 Deck Affy Worst 8541. Okay, I don't think I've said that right, but that's a long one. I respect that. They said, next thing I don't understand, the Admiral was serving in Discovery, yes. At the end of Discovery, we see Burnham old, so it's a few decades in the future. So the Admiral would be some 20 years older also, yes? If Academy is set after Burnham's last flight with the Discovery, then this Admiral should appear older than this. So it should be in the times of Burnham. So will there be any connection ever to the Discovery flying around? Could someone please ask these additional questions to make it a debate point?
Well, they've already mentioned Discovery twice.
They keep mentioning
Right.
it, but we'll never see
Yeah.
it because
Yeah,
they can't
keep
afford
mentioning
it.
Discovery twice, and Discovery,
Well, they can't afford it, bro.
and
Yeah, totally.
if this Braca is now the most wanted person, especially because he looted all these classified stuff from a starbase, that like Discovery would be their new mission, right? To
Yeah.
go and find him.
Yeah, absolutely right. And we've also got guys.
Yeah,
we've
we'll
got
never see what's your
No.
face again.
Thank goodness. And we got Drawn Here has made a comment, says, I want someone to explain how the holographic cadet communicates with the computer by putting her hand through the console. Just a few episodes ago, all she had to do was put her hand against a wall. Why does she need to make any contact with a physical object, for that matter, when there is no technology in the beam of light that she is made from? Good question again.
Yes.
And again, my point would be on that. We live in a time right now where we have Wi-Fi technology. So you're telling me in the 31st century that she cannot just communicate with a computer system?
Yeah, and again, my point last week was, if she has her hand jammed in where she's directly interfacing, why does she still need to talk to the computer? All the interfacing is being done with her hand jammed into the console.
Yeah, 100%. And Matoni Mai 1979 also made a good point. He says, could someone tell me how many people are supposed to be left on Earth? Because it really seems like it's just a handful of kids and holograms. Well, yeah, and some gay bars.
This would be a good time to announce, after this season is over, our upcoming book, Logic Flaws in Starfleet Academy Volume 1. It's going to be 400 pages. We're working on that week by week.
Yeah.
And we'll be coming out with the first volume of that sometime after the season's over.
And then Ellie698 has also said it's style over substance. Maybe that's why the show is so expensive. All the money goes on how it all looks on the surface instead of focusing on creating good characters, storylines, and dialogue. Well said. So thank you for commenting. When you watch this video, comment as well on the video, because we will read them out in the following episode as well. So thank you for keep sending them in, and make sure you've hit the like button and the subscribe button, and make sure you set all the notifications on, because we'll keep doing these. We've got a lot more stuff coming on Sci-Fi Chronicles as well. Before we head off,
so really
Gary,
quickly, so to summarize, out of a possible 30 points, this episode got 4.
Yeah. Magic.
Total.
Yeah.
4 total.
And so before we head off, Brian, where else can you be found, my friend?
Everywhere.
He lives
I am
inside.
in the ether.
Where can't he be found is the question.
Brian is YouTube, everybody.
I am YouTube. We got Brain Show. We got Brain Show coming up this Saturday. So,
yep.
Brian's like the voice of the Academy computer. It's everywhere.
Don't forget your warp slugs.
John, your Talaxium.
You know what, Brian? Do you think? You know what? Somebody's got to have a band. Somebody's got to create a band called the Warp Slugs.
Yeah. You know what? Let's change the YouTube channel name to the Warp Slugs.
And a band. Create a band called the Warp Slugs.
Yeah, just like we'll just make really bad gay music.
Like Josie and the Pussycats will be
have
the Warp
Slugs.
Slugs.
Like a little chyron at the bottom. Music provided by the Warp Slugs.
The Warp Slugs. when you edit this review, John, please add that at the bottom. Music provided by the Warp Slugs.
Yeah, I will do that. And Gary, where else can you be found, my friend?
Well, I can be found in therapy, usually after this taping is over every week. You can find me here. You can find me on Thursdays on Type 40 talking Doctor Who, and on Spacebook on Saturdays talking everything else, and also on many of the other fine offerings on this channel.
Brilliant. So thank you guys for joining me for this. I'm going to go and get some alcohol because I think I need it. And all I would say, inspired by Kyle, I'd go, bye, Brian. Bye, Gary.
Bye, Brian. Bye,
bye, bye, bye, bye, bye.
See you. Bye.